Just tell me what you want to hear, since I'm feeling all with fear. Can't believe you're near, so let's stay right here. You're really making me see all of the good we can be here in your arms, counting all the stars.
Lost in a daze. Why do I feel like I have been here before? Find me a way from this place. I can't escape anymore, and I'm losing sight, unsure where I'll land when I close my eyes. Brings back who I am. Bring back who I am. Bring back who I am. I'm counting the days I have been walking, can't seem to find any door. I can't run away, stuck to the surface, can't seem to lose the floor. And inside, unsure where I'll land. When I close my eyes, brings back who I am. Bring back who I am. Bring back who I am.
Can you guys hear me now? Is that working? Can you guys hear me? I'm sorry. Jeez, I always have audio issues. Um, if you guys can hear me, let me know. Just want to make sure. All right, cool. So, as I was saying, oh my god, I was talking the whole time. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. On another Saturday stream. I think this is number 5 now. Stream number 5, right? On YouTube anyway. And yeah, so oddly enough, so Streamlabs defaulted back to the original mic that it was using, but it wasn't picking up this mic, it was picking up like a mic that wasn't connected anymore. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But yeah, thank you for joining me. I was explaining the countdown and the music. I guess you guys didn't hear any of that. I was saying that the countdown helps me set up to make sure everything is working on my end, like for Streamlabs and stuff, which clearly it didn't it didn't help because the freaking the sound wasn't working. But yeah, that's what it's essentially for. Like, just make sure that I'm ready and I'm all set and stuff. I did not know that Streamlabs switched back to another mic, so we're back now at least. So there we go. But yeah. So how's everybody doing tonight? Hopefully you guys are having a good Saturday. I know it's cold in some parts of the U.S. and some parts it's really hot. So I hope everything is going okay on your side of the world. And with that, I'm going to go to the main camera. No, Julio, it really didn't. So what I was trying to say was the countdown is there, so I can get everything set up on Streamlabs, and then the music is something I can't really do anything about because it's copyright free music. That's a playlist that I can't control while it's going. Hey, what up, Brian? What up, Julius? Hello. All right, so let's go to the main camera. I'll explain everything that we're doing tonight. I'll explain some things that I want to talk about while we're hopefully while we're working. We're not just blathering on like I've been doing the last couple of weeks. But yeah, let's go to the camera real quick, main camera, and then let's get started. So, you guys, if you guys didn't see Mechanisms last night, I wasn't on it all that much. I managed to kind of snap fit most of the Woundwort together, right? So this is essentially the main components of the body and this massive weapon, this right here. It's let me see. Yeah, I'd say a majority of the main components now at this point. You've got the legs, you've got the arms, the back. Do you want to call that a back skirt? I don't really know what to call that. The back skirt. You've got the arms, the head, like the main torso, and then the feet, which might as well not exist, I guess. Bro, JK Brian says all these flavors and you choose salty. What you mean, dude? I'm not salty at all. Anyway. So I'm gonna kind of continue on with this whole thing because there's a few bits and pieces, especially in the weapon, that I'd like to get done tonight, and then that would be like the main part of this done. Everything else would be small details and small pieces and stuff like that, and then yeah, I think that should be a quick enough job. I hope I have a couple of things, and then after that we'll switch gears into another resin kit, which is the RG new conversion. We'll keep working on the surface prep for that. I'll answer any questions about it. I'll answer any questions about any kind of resin things, any Gunpla related things, or any questions you guys might have. And yeah, we'll try to get stuff done, and at the same time we'll have a decent discussion. We'll have a good time. So let's get started. I have this one piece right here that I've been wanting to kind of do. Make sure let's zoom in a little bit here. Make sure we'll get everything kind of straightened out. There are a few things that are not so kosher in this thing. There are quite a few actual surface imperfections on this guy that definitely need sorting out, and then there's some very questionable choices on how things go together, especially on the legs. That Manny and Kyle, which I am building this alongside with, might want to take note, because like essentially I was making mental notes as I was working on this to kind of give you guys some forewarning. I know you guys haven't gotten to the legs yet or anything. I know Manny has gotten up as far as the torso and the arms, or one arm, right? And then Kyle, I'm not sure where you're at, but we'll get everything figured out. I'll let you guys know kind of what I've found so far, what works, what doesn't work, and what's just weird, and what to look out for with this whole thing. So with that, let's go ahead and catch up real quick. Kyle, okay, Gunpla says no good meal can go without salt, Brian. That's true. I mean, he has a point, Brian. And then creeping pretty for you too. Jay says, "Pabz, my dude. Hey, what's up, Jay? Hope you're having a good Saturday." Um, all right. So with that, let's get started. Let's kind of jump in on this. And I think what we should start with before I start kind of sanding and putting things together. Stuff that I found that's kind of iffy. So the first and foremost is, I don't know if you guys saw last Saturday, but I do have a. It would really help if I was kind of in a better frame. So let's move this up a little bit like this. There we go. Cool. All right. So I do have a broken piece straight out of the box. So this guy is. It's not a very difficult difficult piece to fix. It is very thin and it is very it's a very flimsy piece, and this goes onto the back legs right here. So you guys can see a bunch of tape here holding things together. It's this piece right here, so it's the exact copy of this piece, and it's a very simple fix, but at the same time you kind of want to make things easier for yourself. So I did contact Adam at USA Gundam Store, and let him know that, hey, I have a broken piece, and yeah, so he's sending another piece over. But yeah, I mean, that's one option you can definitely take with these, especially with these resin kits, is you can either contact the distributor or the designer, and usually they'll be more than happy to send you a replacement piece, which is a very big difference in terms of Bandai kits, because unless you bought it from a bluefin authorized retailer, and then you wait weeks upon weeks, usually you won't get it'd be a long wait before you can get another a replacement piece. So this is pretty nice. But yeah, I've kind of left this out for now, just because I mean I don't need it right now. So that's one thing we have. I have a very specific issue with, and then the second issue I have is these legs. These legs are very nice. Okay, first and foremost, I mean, I love the design of the Woundwort, and let's see, and it is a great, definitely a great design, and I mean the legs are very what's the word for it? Unique. They're very unique. However, I am not a fan of how the thigh connects to this like kind of knee area, right? So the thigh has two pegs right here on this joint, on this thigh, and then it goes into two peg holes right there. And that is pretty much it, right? But it has this weird kind of joint that goes this way, right? So it's got this weird thing that's going on. I'm not really sure what this is. I mean, if it's for a transformation piece, I totally understand, but this thing doesn't transform, I don't think, right? So it has this thing, which obviously leads to more stability issues, and this is never going to stand up on its own. So this is going to be on an action base or a base of its own or something you guys want to build. And yeah, it's just a weird kind of, I mean, I don't know if Stickler Studio were thinking that this is going to be able to hold some kind of friction on this area right here, but that's definitely not gonna happen. And yeah, it's just I think this was a bad design choice, especially since you already have a knee joint right here on this black piece, kind of goes in here, and that is your knee joint essentially. And again, also not a great design. I mean, this thing is definitely not built for holding a pose on its own. It's definitely gonna need some help. And yeah, I don't think this is essentially necessary, but I mean, it's nice that it's there, but I just wish it was implemented a little bit better, because damn, like this is, I feel like this is going to crap out on me at any point once I have this all together. So just definitely something that you guys should look out for, because not everything is as nicely fit. Is not a nice fit, and in terms of design, or you know, the way things are designed to go together, it's not as nice as the torso. So it's just, you know, little bits and pieces that you should definitely look out for. And then also on this guy right here, the back scut piece. I don't know what to call this thing. It's These things are, I mean, obviously they're very thin, very flimsy, but they don't really slot in anywhere. Like there's a little slot right here, and that goes right in here, and then that's it. Like it's not really a slot for anything. It's just like a recommended guide that kind of goes in there and then keeps it in there. So definitely look out for that. This is something that you'll have to glue in a way that it doesn't show up on the other side, because it will. It'll, you know, if your glue spills, if you're using CA glue, and that kind of if you use a little bit too much, it's going to be a tough spot to kind of remove that excess glue from that area, because that's not a very open area to remove glue from. So definitely look out for that. But I mean, apart from that, great little kit. I had fun putting it together in the 3 hours that I was I mean, it took, like, the legs took me roughly around about 2 to 3 hours just to kind of get everything sanded and get everything put together. So very quick, very simple, and very nice. Now, also just a quick note that none of this is none of the detail parts are on there yet, right? So stuff like these small pieces are not on there, just so that I'm not risking the I'm not risking the losing any of these pieces, because that is a very possible thing that can happen for me. It's happened before, and I've had to scratch build something to replace missing pieces. So I always do these bits lost, and I'm always in the assumption that these will fit just fine. It's always the bigger stuff that has a risk of not fitting together. So that is not what we're working on today. We're not working on the smaller pieces. We are working on slightly larger pieces that go on the weapon here on the underside, that kind of goes along. And yeah, let's do that. Okay, I mean, yeah, I feel like I've spoken a little bit too much, but again, if you guys have any questions on this, if you guys have any you know, anything that you might want to talk about, please let me know, and I will do my best to answer them. So let me catch up with people real quick. Kyle, aka Clueless Gunpla Builder, says I'm done. It's all painted, and continues to say in his mind, yeah, I wish. Creeping Peely for you too, aka Jay, says it's going a lot better. That's great. I'm really happy to hear that. Jared Everett says, hi guys, how are you doing? How you doing, Jared? Thank you for joining me tonight, and working on this this beautiful resin kit. And you know, don't get me wrong, like with all the little things that I've complained about so far, it is definitely a gorgeous resin kit. Lots of nice little details that you can bring out with a good paint job. I still kind of haven't decided what I want to do in terms of a paint job on this guy yet. I do like the thought of maybe just doing a regular Woundwort. I mean, I've always liked that color scheme. It's very simple, but we'll see. I don't know. I have time. All right, so let's go ahead and remove the excess. And this is the nice thing with these, like, with nicely made resin kits, is that you only have to really worry about one or sometimes two nubs, and you don't have to worry about missing any because usually there's only just the one. And Zach Blake is over there on YouTube. What's up, Zach? Thank you for joining me tonight, man. How you doing? If you guys don't know Zach, he is Zach Blake of Galactic Toys. So he is the guy that has been very proactive in trying to acquire resin kits for us to purchase stateside. I don't know if you have any left, Zach, but I know they recently just got in the Madworks Shining Gundam 1/100 resin kit. So if you guys are interested in that, if you guys like your G Gundams and stuff, they do have that in stock, as well as the base kit that it requires, which is the Master Grade Strike RM, right? So if you guys want to check that out, and that is also one of my future builds. I do have that in the backlog currently. That will be built at some point in time. Whenever some time frees up, that'd be swell. Yeah. Okay. Great. So Zach says he has the Madworks Master Grade Shining and the RG new conversion that we are going to be working on a little bit later today. So if you guys want to check it out. Oh, I'm sorry. So Zach says it's the Ale Strike, the Master Grade Ale Strike. Thank you, Zach. As you guys can see, I'm not going straight to the bottom of the piece because that is a very good way of nicking the piece, especially when it's something particularly thinner. That's a bad time. Sometimes it'll just take a huge chunk of the actual mold away, and you don't want that. So. Let's see. Kyle H, aka Clues Gunpla says, picked up some goodies from Galactic Toys. There were a lot of goodies at Galactic Toys. I mean, not only do they sell kits, they also sell a whole bunch of tools, such as I know Tim has been talking about it the last couple of days. But the Madworks polishing compounds from coarse to ultra fine, which are, it's a 3-step polishing kit, as well as the tiger drill. I'm not doing the hands, man. That's I feel like it's a stereotype I'm not gonna touch. The tiger drill kind of mini Dremel set, which has the polishing wheel that will allow you to apply these the polishing compounds. So yeah, definitely check out Galactic Toys, man. Like, they are a locally run business up in, is it Grand Rapids, Michigan? And yeah, man, I mean, the last time I was there was it almost 2 years ago or a year ago? I don't remember fully. But we were there for a Tim appearance, and we had a good time, man. Like, definitely a beautiful store, lots of stock, and I kind of walked away with a perfect grade kit, which I was not expecting. So but yeah. Jared Everett asks, have you ever put lights into a kit? Yes, I have. I have done 3 kits with LEDs in them. The first was the original SD Sinanju that I worked on almost 3 years ago. The second was a high grade HGIBO Heckja kit bash custom that I did for one Gunpla Ronin. And the third is, I know it doesn't count, I mean, it's lights, right? But the Dragon Momoko perfect grade unicorn with the MJH LED set. Let's see. Zach Blake says last summer. I think maybe it was last summer, or just like at the end of last summer. So maybe was it 2019? I don't know, man. Everything's just been melding together, right? Oops, there goes that. But yeah, I think it was summer. And then Jared Everett says, "How does that work?" So let's see. How do I explain LED kits? Oh, I also did the LEDs for the ZZ Bust. So essentially, you are looking. I mean, the first thing you need to do is plan out how you're going to lay out the wiring for your LEDs for your kit, right? Whether it's going to be in a series or in a parallel, I mean it's entirely up to you. Parallel, I find that the power source lasts a lot longer than in a series, so that's one option. Also, the color of the LEDs will depend. Will The color of the LEDs will factor into how much power you need and how much resistance you'll require. Um, you know, and the number of LEDs as well. So what I do is I go on well, I used to because I haven't done LEDs in a long time. There's a website that I don't quite remember. It's like a resistance calculator. And then I would kind of think about how many I need, and then put that in into the website, and it'll tell me the power and resistance that I need for that type of LED. So blue LEDs require a certain amount, I think 3.7 volts and a 0.15 ohm resistance. It's been a very long time, I'm sorry. And yeah, so that's essentially it. And then you kind of have to think about how the wires are going to go along the inner frame. So you want to hide as much of the wire as possible. You want to you want to make sure it's not interfering with the articulation of the kit, as well as it's just it's hidden as well as possible. Usually what I do is like at a joint I'm kind of snaking it around, and then there are some parts where you can't help but have it be exposed. If it helps if you have a base, so you can hide a lot of the wires through there. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man. You know what? Let me grab the SD Synology and I can show you what I'm talking about. Give me one second. Okay, so here is the excuse me, the original SD Synology that I worked on, right? And I've shown this before on the stream. Um, it's at this point about 3 years old now. And this is the absolute simplest setup, right? It's a one LED setup that goes from the base all the way up to the I guess the back skirt, and up through the middle of the torso, and then all the way up to the eye. So it goes from the bottom of the kit all the way up. So it's a one battery setup. You turn it on, and there it goes. And then what I did with this guy is, if I can zoom in a little bit more, is I sanded the underside of a mono eye, I guess jewel, and I stuck the LED. If I can show it out, not really. It's gonna be very hard to see, but I stuck the LED inside, well, kind of right behind that, so then that's what's giving me the you still have a detail up in there, but there's still also an LED. So very easy setup. Now if you have multiple LEDs, it's going to be slightly different, because obviously, again, you need it to be in a series or a parallel, and that's going to go into different sections of the kit, and that's going to complicate how you're going to have to lay everything out. But if you think about it, like if you've ever seen the LED kits for like the Perfect Grade Exia or the Perfect Grade Unicorn, it's no different. It's just that they have different housings that allow them to kind of lay exactly where they need to lay. But it's more or less the same thing. It has a base where most of the stuff is kind of put into, and then a set of wire, and they're all usually, I believe, pretty parallel, and that's pretty much it. So I hope that helps somehow. I am not an expert in LEDs. I think people like Ryan Bartolezzi And there's a guy named Gundam LED, I believe, on Facebook that also does a lot of LED work. So yeah, if you guys want to check that out, check them out. I believe they might have a better answer than I would. But yeah, that's hopefully that works. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, so let's make sure I am still online. Okay, cool. All right, so let's make sure everything is nice and zoom out a little bit. There we go. Nice and even here. So I like to use this Sujiborido file. Very clean. Like, so I have the fine and I have the super fine. This is the fine and super fine. So this one is a little rougher. Can go through material very quickly, but it does leave a lot of scratches. And this guy is nice and fine, and leaves a lot less scratches. I mean, obviously, a sanding stick would still be better for having no scratches. But if you need something done very particularly quickly, then the Sujiborido handy file is again very handy. Jared it says super helpful, thanks. You're welcome, dude. Like I said, check those guys out. I believe Ryan's Instagram is RB Gunpla Works. If somebody could confirm that, I don't quite remember. RB Gunpla Works, and yeah, he does a lot of LED work. So he would be the guy to kind of give you more info, or more in-depth info, if you're looking to be doing more complicated LED setups. But you're welcome, dude. Okay, so while I'm working on this, and if I have your ears currently, I kind of briefly spoke about this on the stream last night, but if you didn't catch the stream, I guess now would be a good time to talk about it. I want to talk about Ben, aka Dragantha's Gunpla Forge GoFundMe. Kind of hopefully go into more detail about kind of that situation, what's going on, and why I think it's a good cause. So for those that don't know, Ben is a German. I believe he's German, right? Well, European. We'll just say European because I believe he's German. He is a European Gunpla builder. Very talented builder. He's on YouTube as well. I believe his handle is Dragantha's Gunpla Forge. I think it's Dragantha _Gunpla _Forge. And I think there's an underscore at the very end too. But he's a very talented builder. Doesn't get the love that he deserves for his work, and he is going through a pretty rough health issue. He has a few problems with his immune system, and a couple of weeks ago, he collapsed. His illness got too much. He collapsed at home. His fiance took him to a hospital, and with the current situation going on in the world right now, hospital is not the best place to be. And things got so bad for him. He got to a point where he had a heart attack. Now, mind you, heart attacks can happen to anybody. But Ben is only 30 years old. He's a very young guy, but just dealt a bad card with his health issues. So, Linus, I'm trying to remember his IG. Armored Skunk. Is that right? I can't remember. Z. I see you. I see your back. So, I don't know if you remember Linus's Instagram account, but he had set up a GoFundMe page for Ben. With a goal of 3,000 euros to kind of help him through medical bills, because Ben was the only income in his household, him and his fiance, which because of his health issues, he has a hard time keeping employment, and because of all of this, his fiance is now unable to complete her degree, which is obviously supposed to help with giving them a better quality of life, better income and stuff. So yeah, so a GoFundMe was set up for Ben with a goal of 3,000 euros. I believe the last time I checked, which we should check right now, I believe it was over 900. Let's check right now, actually. Oop. So right now he is at 965. There we go. 965. Kyle, aka Clues Gunpla Billy, says Armageddon Skunk is his IG. Thank you, Kyle. Yes. So right now we're at 965. Let's move that the way. I know times are tough with everything that's going on in the world. But if you guys can help, if please help. He's a very nice dude. I've interacted with him a few times, watched his streams a few times, and yeah, he's a really nice guy, and just dealt a really bad hand, and it kind of just it sucks. It really sucks, and if we can help him, let's do it. And if you guys can't help him with any kind of monetary value, that's totally fine. You don't have to do that. Nobody is telling you to do it. But just if you guys can share the GoFundMe page, and you never know who can help. And then to kind of to make the whole situation a little bit more enticing, I guess would be the right word for it. A whole bunch of builders in the community have decided to do a couple of auctions and giveaways to get people to help out somehow. For example, Terry Gundam is doing a silent auction for some of his line artwork. If you guys don't follow Gundam, please do, because the man is very talented. Let's see if we can find him real quick. Yeah, Gundam. The man has been doing some stellar artwork. So he's doing a silent auction to auction off one of these, and all the proceeds. Actually, hold on. Are any of the proceeds? Yeah, he's doing a silent auction for his artwork. Phil Build Stuff is doing a bunch of poster card art, and he's selling those off. Trying to remember more in terms of like the auction stuff. But you've got people like Z, Gunpla Ronan over there, Mr. Influencer himself. He is giving away a katana for those that donate. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen these katanas. I do own one, which blew me away. Very surprised. We had a long lost box in the mail. These katanas are not, kind of the cheap ones that you get at Chinatown or any, those kinds of sword places. These are very high quality pieces that you just don't want laying around. And as he is kind of generous enough to give one away to a donator, so that's one of the giveaways. You've got people like Manny McDeo, who is doing I believe he's doing a gift card giveaway, right? I'm trying to remember. What everybody else is giving away. I am personally giving away 2 resin busts one of the Sazabi, one of the Sinanju in 135 scale by AOK Silver Oaks, for anybody who donates. And then once we hit the 2,000 euro goal, I will also be giving away a Dragon Momoko Akatsuki. I believe that's, yeah. Oh, the Akatsuki plus Owashi pack? Right. Right? Owashi pack, I think so. Yeah. So, yeah. Um like I said, if you guys can't donate, just spread the word, and if you guys can, every penny helps. Every little helps. Just you know, you have a. Not only will you be in with a chance of winning a resin kit or a katana, $100 gift cards, uh, all of that stuff. But you will also be helping out somebody in dire need. So as a community, we've rallied before, and I mean, times are definitely tough. But if you can, let's rally again. So yeah, let's get off my soapbox for now. But just in case you guys didn't watch yesterday, or you haven't really been keeping up with all of that's been going on. So yeah, all right. Let's look at this instruction manual real quick. And it should be right here. Right. Okay. So we need this piece right here. So let's see. But there's also this peg right here which doesn't connect to anything. That's very strange. Because now this piece goes in here, so, and that's fine. But it doesn't make, what doesn't make sense is this whole thing. Like, how does this all connect together? I do not know. Somehow it's supposed to all connect together. It's got me stumped. It's got me stumped, guys. Might have to check out some references. You know what? I think I might be missing a specific piece that I did not bring out of the bag. Right, okay. So I think that might be the case. Okay. Just get these guys out. Kyle, aka Clues Gunpla, says these metal detail pots have me worried. Pabz. Are you talking about the photo etch pots? Like for this one? Like, what are you worried about? I think I somewhat have this figured out. Let me know what you're worried about, Kyle. Like, are you worried about how they're supposed to go together, or what's up, bro? Okay, I think I get it. The photo etch pots. Like, are you worried how they're gonna go on, or like, what has you worried about them specifically? You know, I gotta know to be able to help you, dude. And I mean, if you want me to explain the process, I can. Just let me know. But my apologies if I'm a little quieter than usual. For some reason today I've been feeling a little bit under the weather. Definitely through my fault, the fault of my own. I was up a little late last night, and I had been kind of dealing with not sleeping very well. Okay, so Kyle is saying that he's worried about the photo etch pots and how to apply them. So it's fairly straightforward, depending on how much work you want to put into them, right? Some people like to just leave them as is, just in that metallic texture, which is fine. Some people like to paint them. In that case, there are a couple more steps that you need to take to be able to get everything right. Right. I will see if I can find an example here real quick. I used quite a few pieces of photo etch on the the Stickler Studios Dynamis, which uses a very similar kind of setup to this Woundwort. So these were the pieces that this is the photo etch that it came with. Now it didn't necessarily use all of them. It used very specific ones, essentially ones that the resin parts replaced. So some of these pieces were parts that would be used for the just the regular plastic pieces. So like specifically for the sniper rifle. It's a very straightforward process, Kyle. So essentially what you're doing is there's a very specific kind of port for the photo etch, specifically for, like, for example, I know the feet has, let me see here, let's look at the instruction manual real quick, because it does have a photo etch kind of setup. So you got the photo etch part that goes right there at the feet, right? Here's the feet, which we need to straighten the feet out for that bottom part because it's a little bent. It's gonna go. Oops. It's gonna go right around here. What you'll have to do is you'll have to fold the photo etch part. Now there's several ways you can do this. You can either get a folding tool that you can get from places like GKM or Masagan. I'm not sure if USA Gun themselves any specifically, but what I usually do is I use I use a photo etch ruler, and then I, put this along the folding line, and then I use. So I have several tweezers. So I use a combination of these guys right here, and then I use kind of these less abrasive. They're non-metallic. They're ceramic tweezers, which doesn't scratch the photo etches badly. And I just kind of grab it. So for example, if you put the ruler down, then you kind of grab the photo etch, and then you kind of, and you're doing this obviously on a flat surface. So you, God, so I feel like I need a better setup than this because it's just not good, not good. So you'll take your ruler or your photo, for me my photo etch ruler. There's the photo etch underneath it. Then you'll take it, and then you'll take your tweezers, and then you'll softly bend that photo etch. The angle that you need it to be. It make the folders make it a little easier since you can fold it to a specific angle that you need. So if you can get one, get one. And then what I like to use is, I don't have any at the moment because I ran out. But regular PVA glue works great with photo etch. They are not as harsh as CA glue. When they dry clear. And very easy to clean up since it's water soluble. That is a big thing. Unless you use acrylics, then that's kind of a problem. But if you're using lacquers, then you should be fine. Or as long as you're not using a water-based acrylic, is what I'm saying. Use some PVA glue. Apply it onto the piece first, and then place the photo etch onto the piece. Adjust, and then leave it alone. Leave it overnight, and then the following day you can check to see if you've got any kind of glue spillage anywhere, and just clean it up with some water and then a cotton swab, and you're good to go. Now, if you are looking to paint your photo etch, that is a slightly different method. And I had the example somewhere. I seem to have lost my example. I've lost my example. Damn it. I had an example of a painted photo etch part that I did for the Dynamis. Now, I don't know if you guys saw my Dynamis that I made for, which I gave on loan to Zach over in Galactic Toys. Which I could probably find a photo on my phone if I can't find it. If I can't find my example, because it was just here, man. I know it was just here. Let's see. Oh, it's gone walkies. Has it not? Yes, it has. Let's see. Is this it? Nope. Sorry, guys. Give me one moment to see if I can find the PVA example, or the PVA, the photo etch example that I had ready, and then I immediately lost because I am very not good at organization. Oh, here, I found it. Great. Whew. Rushlamak Bill says, just look in the last place you had it. See? Not lost. Easy. Yeah, great. I mean, that's exactly how you should do it. So here is a photo etch pot that's been painted. I can keep it in the frame. Painted, and let's see if we can get closer here. If you guys can, it's a little dark. There you go. Painted and top coated and panel lined. Oh well, not in that order. Painted, panel lined, top coat. There you go. These were kind of last minute pieces that never got onto the dynamis. I completely forgotten about them, and that's my fault completely. But very easy to get out of focus. But it's a very easy method. It uses the same things that I had just spoken about. It just adds the additional step of adding Mr. Metallic Primer, which is all the way over there. Give me one second. So, Mr. Metallic Primer R, by Mr. Hobby. So essentially what you want to do is you want to apply this first, wait for it to dry, and then what this thing does is it makes it tacky, and then you apply your regular primer to it, to the piece, and then from then you can just do your regular painting methods to it. And the goal is essentially you want to make sure that paint sticks to that photo etch, because photo etch is not, I mean, the paint will just scrape off if you don't use that metal primer. But yeah, that's the gist of it. Very simple, man. And then just use PVA glue again. There that goes. Just use PVA glue again, and yeah, you're off to the races, man. I mean, obviously PVA glue is not as it doesn't stick as well as CA glue, but for these photo etch pots, I mean, then usually not load bearing pieces, and then yeah, with PVA glue it just eliminates the risk of you ruining your paint job if you get too much onto your piece. So yeah, I think that kind of covers everything, at least that I do. If you have any more issues, just let me know, man. Okay, so let's get back to this. I feel like I have not done anything at all. It's ridiculous. I don't know how Tim does it. I genuinely don't. It's like, Tim, how do you work while you talk? It's impossible. Okay, so where's that piece gone? This piece right here. There we go. Alright, so this goes in here like this. And then this guy goes in here like so. And that gives it a pivot. Okay. Kyle says, I was definitely overthinking it. I had issues last time I dealt with photo etch. What kind of issues did you have, man? Maybe letting us know would kind of help us avoid it in the future. And I mean, like, the first time I dealt with photo etch pots was the Extreme Squad Barbatos Lupus. That guy comes with a whole set of them, and that was the first time I had kind of really taken a dive with photo etch pots, and some of it went well, some of it didn't, but I learned a lot working on that kit, and it definitely helps. If I can help somebody with it, then man, I will, because that's what we should be doing. We should be helping, or something. Okay, and there's one more. Goes like that, then we can start putting. Actually, let me just take this guy off. And something goes on this guy. I believe it's this thing. I think I have this the right way. Probably isn't the right way. Bill, okay, Ruslam says, now you know firsthand why he sometimes only glues 5 pieces into our stream. No, I've always known, dude. Like, well, for example, when I was doing Instagram lives, like this is what constantly happens. Like, you just get engaged with the audience, and you know, you want to make sure that there's a conversation going. I bit my tongue, man. There's a conversation going, and it's very difficult to do that while you're working. And I feel bad because I kind of want to show you guys how I work, but at the same time I also want to talk to you guys. So it's like a weird balance. Kyle, aka Gunpla, says it was the glue squeeze out. When trying to clean up, I popped the pot off the piece. Yeah, that's kind of the thing with CA glue. I mean, once it's on there, and you get too much on and you squeeze out onto your surface, I mean, there's not a lot of options there except sanding and starting again. So yeah, PVA glue just stops that from happening, removes that risk for you, and gives you a nice clear substance to hold your photo etch part. Okay, yeah, that's the right orientation. Cool. Okay. And I'll do this, and we'll see if we can snap this together, because this might be difficult to do. So he's talking about food. Yeah, we were having a pretty a deep conversation last night about food, of the mechanisms. We were craving some fried chicken last night, and we finally managed to get some today, and it was well worth the wait. I love fried chicken. Oops. Fried chicken is life. And then Kyle says the PVA glue suggestion is definitely a winner. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, nice, dude. Yeah, no problem. I'm glad I can help. And Z says we're breaking off fast Pabz. Oh, cool, man. Yeah, happy fast break. Okay, so do this, and this should fill that. That's fine. Great. Now what we'll do is we'll also tape that together. Bill says he would like some Krispy Kreme. You and me both, buddy. Krispy Kreme is delicious. It is literal crack. It's not crack, but it's very addictive and good. It's very good. Okay, so we're getting there with this guy. It's just very annoying. This part is very annoying. Anything involving kind of these kind of like tail segment things, I've always found to be quite bothersome, especially with resin parts. And what I like to do is I mean, if I'm not using blue tack, I'm using masking tape to keep these things together, as to make sure that everything goes nice and securely. You know, there's nothing kind of blocking these two pieces being married to each other. And you know, obviously, once everything's painted, then we'll use CA glue on the inside of these things to keep them all nice and square. Let's see. There's one more here. And we want to make sure this is the right, goes the right way. Which is this way. This is the right way, right? There we go. There we go. Okay. Gunpla Ronin, aka Z, says, it's been so long since I've had that. Want an itis burger made with crispy? What is an itis burger? I don't think I've ever heard of that. See, if you'd like to explain what an itis burger is, I'd love to know. Probably will never be able to have it, but it's nice to know. Okay, and then finally this piece, which in theory should go in here. So, there we go. Great. And this guy goes there we go. So this guy goes on top of this, and then hopefully this will just stay on there when we add this piece. And there you go. And then what I'll probably do is I'll put a piece of masking tape right here to put that together. And there's this piece. Oops, not on screen. So Gunpla Rowan AKZ says, oh well, Kyle first. Kyle says the heart attack burger. Dude, that sounds bad. Gunpla Rowan says, haha, the ISIS is what you get after you eat a hugely indulgent food and want to sleep. Dude, I had that earlier with the fried chicken. Yeah, man. I had like 2 pieces and I was ready to knock out. It was worth it though, man. Definitely worth it. Right, so we'll put some masking tape on there for now, just to keep everything somewhat stable, because there's always a risk of it falling apart at any given moment, and that is just par for the course, man. And that goes together like this. You've got this thing that goes, just double check. Okay, so it faces forward. Okay, so it goes this way. And here, I have no idea what this piece actually is. If there are any Woundwort pros or anybody familiar with the Woundwort can tell me what this part is, that would be great. Because none of the promotional images actually show that piece anywhere. At least not that I can see. I mean, you know, there's not many promotional images in the first place. But that tail, man, like, where is that tail? Let's go. Old photo sheet. Oh, there it is. So it kind of goes under. It tucks in. Okay. So somehow it's supposed to be able to tuck in like this without breaking. Cool. Okay, so let's try that. Let's try to put this kind of together and this gun together without it kind of falling apart if it falls off, because that's what it did earlier. Let's go. Let's see. Bruchlam says Krispy Kreme donut buns is a 1/4 pound sliced beef brisket, 2 bacon strips, and 1/8 pound pulled chicken. Holy cow, dude! And then curly fries with cheese sauce. that sounds very American. Gunpla Ronin says, make that turkey bacon and I'm game, Bill. There you go. Jared Everett says, those sound really good right now. Right? Tell me about it. Robert O says, it's similar to what the P Bandai's version added. Oh, really? Okay. I've never built the HG Woundwort. So I don't know if this weapon looks the same. But if it does, cool. That sounds cool. Okay, so you got this piece, you got that piece, and then okay, cool. All right, bet. And then you got this piece that goes on. Oops. Goes on here like so, and then okay, and then you've got this part that kind of just about connects to this piece somehow. Oops, it just completely pushes. Kind of pushes the back end out a little too much. So the bend on these guys might. I mean, I think I might have this backwards, like these backwards. So I might have to just flip those over. But it looks like it connects somehow there. But yeah, obviously, yeah, it just pushes the other side out, and that happens. But we can always just disconnect that for now, and then we'll figure that out later on. That's a cool little tail thing. Rusham says, for UZ, I would even make it dulce. Robert O says, you. Me. Compliment says, thanks, brother. And then Robert O says, for the HG version, you can use the tail to attach it to the shoulder. Oh, okay. I don't think this has that option. I mean, I don't see that option anywhere. But that's cool. So let's add another tape right here, and again, you can use blue tack for this. I am just running a little bit low on blue tack, so I've been kind of using a little bit of masking tape, like the extra masking tape I do have. I don't really use this size masking tape all that often. I tend to use the 18 millimeter versions more. But I think that's just his preference. I just cut down the 18 millimeter, so yeah, it's a shame that doesn't go on all the way. But I think that's just my fault for having it the wrong way around, probably. Okay. That's not staying on either, which is also dumb. what doesn't make sense to me is that, so you've got this tail, right? So that flips out, and then that's supposed to attach this shoulder. But when it's tucked in like this, so like the guy can't, like the Woundwort can't hold this because of this tail, because that's where the handle is, right? The handle kind of goes in this middle area here. Ruslan, aka Bill, says dulce is a type of red seaweed. It is dried and naturally tastes like bacon. Holy cow, dude! I did not know that. Cool. Whoops. Something that tastes like seaweed. It's a seaweed that tastes like bacon. That sounds fascinating. Science. Why does it? Why does it? Why is it so fantastic? I'm gonna knock this peg out. So let's just put that back in. So you can see this. This is all kind of very tentative. Like nothing is particularly secure right now. And then I have this in the completely wrong area. So let's just take that back out. Let's put this in here. There we go. It should hold it a little bit better. Yeah. Cool. Great. Oh, nope. It's kind of the frustrating thing about resin kits. Rusham says, yes it is. When I make vegan burgers, I use it. Oh, cool. Rusham, are you, Bill, are you vegan? It's one of those days where this thing wants to fight me. Okay, and then you've got this white thing. Now, I don't know if you guys saw this earlier, but this thing is very, very, very bent. It is not very straight. So right now, these two pieces that I have masked on there, or like I have taped on there. This middle piece is what's kind of keeping it straight, but it is very. Let's get rid of that. Let's zoom in a little bit more. It is very bent, so we will definitely need to fix this. So for anything of this size, and it just needs to be straight. What I do is I boil a little bit of water in a pot. Once that boils over, I turn off the stove, and I put the resin piece in there for a couple of seconds. That's all you need, maybe 3 or 4 seconds, max 6 or 7. And then you'll see that it becomes the resin becomes very flexible and soft, and then you just need to lay it out on a flat surface. And then just let it dry. It'll only take a few seconds for it to gain its rigidity again. And then after that, just let it dry, and you'll have yourself a nice straight piece. And yeah, that's all you need, man. Now for more complicated pieces, like anything that needs to fit from one hole to another, but the mold was warped and it just doesn't fit. What I do is I use a hairdryer to kind of manipulate the resin into fitting into that, into from one hole to another. So heat is essentially your friend here for anything that's warped and distorted or not straight. Boiling water for stuff like this, and then a heat gun or a hairdryer for anything that needs fitting from one to another. So just a quick tip for anybody who doesn't know or anything. So yeah. All right. Are we still talking about food? All right, let's see. Bill Rusum says, I also love using it on salads. And then to my question of whether he's vegan or not, he says, no. but I know a few vegans and cook for them from time to time. Okay, that's great, man. A lot of my cousins have become vegans in the last couple of years. Now, whether or not they stuck to it is a completely other story. Um, I'll probably clip this and show this to them. But yeah, like the methods that they use to kind of substitute what they used to eat is fascinating. It's very cool. Now, whether or not some of it is successful is another story. But you know, I admire the dedication that some that stick to being a vegan. So cool. Um, Kyle says, "You can hook me up, Bill." Yes, Kyle, I believe is vegan. Kyle, you're vegan, right? Yeah, you have. Oh, quick thing that people might not know about Kyle. He has a vegan tattoo. Yeah. He just pointed it out like was it last week, Kyle? I had not noticed it. Okay. So, yeah, for this just, I'm definitely going to have to straighten this out because it is very bent. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll connect this. Is that missing something? It is missing something, huh? Holy moly. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just clean this up real quick because I snapped this but didn't clean up the edge here. Always clean up your edges. It does not want to focus on that piece whatsoever. It just wants to focus on everything under and behind it. There we go. Kyle, aka Gunpla Villa says, I do have it tattooed across my arm. It's how I keep from exploding from not telling anyone. You mean you're not one of those two people that has to immediately tell somebody, "Oh, I'm vegan." By the way, I'm vegan. I am so much better than you. And I'm not. First of all, I'm not. Hopefully, no vegans take offense to that. Not every vegan is like that. It's a very stereotypical thing to say, but funny as hell though. I mean, there are a lot of people out there that are very proud to be vegan, and it's fine. Okay. So I'll just make sure this is nice and fitted. Gunpla in AKZ says, Pabz, can you mix me up a reddish orange color? Yeah, man. Like what kind of reddish orange color are you needing? Let me know. I have a few options. We can explore for sure. If there's something that I've done before, for any kind of reddish orange colors that you might like from any of my older builds, just let me know. I have those kind of notes. So yeah, man, let me know. Let me know, brother. I'm more than happy to help you out there. Okay, so got this piece, and then you've got these weird arm things, wherever they are, that go on here, and they should, if everything lines up correctly, snap like so. We can actually remove this for now. We don't need that yet. And then this guy kind of goes on here. And then, well, you know what? Let's take that out for now. We can worry about those later. Oops. This just is not a good fit either. We'll have to tape that up. Then you've got this guy goes here. There we go. And then yeah, we'll just have to kind of group those two together. Rushlam says, for vegan burgers, I get some super large portobello mushrooms, same diameter as the buns. Marinate them overnight. I like to go somewhat barbecue oriented with the marinade, but not necessarily. Grill them, I guess is what he's saying. Okay. Kyle says, it's true though. I hate hearing it, and I'm one of them. So there was this video a couple of years ago that I saw. There was a vegan guy, very proud to be vegan, and he ordered a pizza, but he was very adamant, that he was vegan, and that he can't have cheese, or he can't have any kind of meat, or any kind of any products made by an animal in his pizza. And the pizza place agreed, and then they delivered this pizza, and apparently it had meat. And he was raving about how great this pizza was, not realizing there was meat, I believe, in the tomato sauce. And the moment he found out, his demeanor changed completely. He was livid. He was a very angry individual at that point. That's kind of, whenever somebody tells me they're vegan in that way, or, I'm vegan, that's what my mind kind of goes to, is that dude that was very angry with his pizza. He was very angry. Okay, so as a continuation from what Bill Roos said earlier, he says to grill the mushrooms, add a slice of heirloom tomatoes, romaine lettuce, Vidalia onions, dulce, basil, pesto, mayo on one bun, Dijon mustard on the other. Oh God, that sounds amazing. This might be a controversial thing, but I'm actually not a big fan of mushrooms. Now people say that the texture and stuff like that taste, or reminds them of meat. I don't get that vibe. It has a very rubbery texture for me, and that might just be me. I might just be weird. But yeah, I'm just not a big fan of mushrooms, man. And I'm very sorry for if I offended anybody who loves mushrooms. That is not my intent. Okay, so let's see if let's just wrap this giant piece of tape around this guy, just to keep it all in one spot, because that's kind of the goal for now, right? So we've isolated that there might be an issue with fitting here in this part. So that's something we're gonna have to keep an eye on. And you can see how it kind of we just get this massive mess of tape and blue tack. And this is how all of my resin kits go. The only ones that didn't require this much blue tacking or taping was the RG New and then the RG Sazapi. So the two RGs are the only ones that didn't require any of this. So okay, and then this is coming apart again. And then there you go. That's essentially, let's not forget this back piece right here. That is essentially the what's massive weapon. This is absolutely massive. Like, I think this is bigger than the kit itself, right? Like the weapon is bigger than the kit. Let's zoom in a little bit here, or zoom out, sorry. And then let's focus. But look at this guy, man. This is This is massive. This is the 1/100 weapon for the Woundwort, and this isn't even like the extra weapon, right? The extra weapon is like a small, almost like pistol-ish rifle kind of thing. It is not this. That's for damn sure. Yeah. How do I? I mean, I love the look of this thing, man. It's pretty insane. But that's cool. Yeah. So there's the weapon. Managed to get the weapon done. I am very proud of myself to be able to talk while I put this together. I'm so proud, man. So proud. Okay, let's let's catch up with the chat real quick. And it is let's see. Kyle, aka Clueless Gunpla Builder says, "Making me hungry, Bill." He's making everybody hungry, Kyle. Gunpla Ronan Z says, "In fact, I love all kinds of mushrooms." Okay, to each their own. Kyle says, "Gotta cook them longer, Pabz. It really softens them up." See, that's kind of the thing, because I've had mushrooms, all over the world. Back when I lived in the UK, there were certain dishes that that had mushrooms in them, chicken and mushroom pie and all that stuff. It was just great stuff. I don't know, man. Whether it's the texture or the aftertaste, there's always something about mushrooms that bothers me a little bit. And then Gunpla in AKZ says, certain mushrooms have long fibers and does give them a meat texture. And then he continues to say, Pabz have truffles, life changing, bro. I've had truffles. I've had truffles. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Rustam says, marinated portobello mushrooms that have been grilled do have a meat feel and taste. We tricked people into admitting how much they loved the hamburgers before telling them there was no meat on them. See, that's a good way to kind of make you realize that people are craving that meat texture not because of the meat itself, but because of that texture, I think. Let's see. Kyle says, Bill, have you tried the Impossible Burger? That has almost tricked a bunch of people. Now, I've had the Impossible Burger because I can't have beef. And, yeah, it fooled me. I mean, it didn't fool me. It does have the same texture and the same taste as beef. And it's pretty good. Rusham says, no thanks. Impossible Burger has more fat than beef burger. It's a lot of soy, at least from my understanding. Like, it's a lot of soy. Kyle says, gotta live a little. And then Gunpla and Z says, Kyle, eat the Impossible Burger at Kuma's. I've never had Kuma's, but I did. They did do a Red Robin. We went to Red Robin a couple of months ago. I mean, before any of this happened. And they were giving out the option of replacing your meat patty with an Impossible Burger patty, and that was, I mean, it was pretty good, man. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, so a lot of food talk tonight. I'm finding a lot of the streams I've been involved in have involved either movies or food. I think these are two things that are a lot of people are missing. Ronan Z says, Red Robin, yum. Ruslan Bill says, soy makes you grow udders. I'm editorializing here. I don't know about that, Bill. I'm not sure. I don't think it necessarily does. I mean, maybe it does. I don't know, but I don't think it does. All right, so that's the weapon done, right? There are a couple of optional parts for this thing that I'm trying to decide if it's worth making, because I am not 100% sure I am keeping this kit. I might auction it off. Like, honestly, I don't know. That's kind of I've kind of been I'm running out of space, guys. But yeah. So yeah, like I said, there are a bunch of optional parts on this guy. You've got your optional hands. There are like different feet options. So you've got these feet, right? Which is when they're extended, but when it's in flight mode, it's just so essentially it's this bottom piece right here, and then this piece is this piece, but just tucked in to this area. Now, if you have that, if you have this thing on here, you can't use the photo etch that goes inside this thing. So I don't know. It is very confusing. I'm not 100% sure what I want to do yet, but we'll figure that out. We'll definitely kind of think about that. So we'll see. Kyle, aka Exclusive Gunpla Builder, says, "We are simple folk, Pabz. We love our movies and a good meal to go along with it." And I genuinely believe, I think that is what a lot of people are missing right now with this whole thing. Like, go to a movie and have a meal. So, Gunpla AKZ says, "Why don't you choose me to win the Akatsuki? Because I'll be drawing a winner. It might not necessarily be you. It could be you. You never know." Rushdom aka Bill says, "You don't have to display every kit you build. You might not." So with me personally, I've loved every build I've ever made. And a lot of people, what a lot of people do is they build, they put in all this effort and stuff, and then they kind of put it in storage, and that's an option, yes. But that is, I don't know. I like displaying my kits. I like having them displayed for me to look at and go, yeah, I put a lot of hard work in that. That is a kit I made for myself. If it's a commission or if it's for somebody else and I never see it again, my wish for them is to display it so that they can see it, and then they're happy with it. So that's just, I think that's just me. I like having my kits out, and I am very proud of each and every single one of them. Whether I hated the process or I didn't, I always made sure it was of a kit of my vision and of my creativity. So yeah. Bill Ruslam says, "We all miss date night, especially us single people." Single people, yeah, man. Yeah, like I think a lot of people are definitely missing that. And I can't speak for the single folk out there. I am married. But hopefully, to all my single friends, please stay strong. You got this. You got this. Okay, so yeah, man. We didn't even get to the RG new tonight, did we? God damn it. No. So with the RG new, I'll just kind of talk about it real quick. There is not a lot for me to currently that's left for me to do on it. So the last stream we started to do surface prep, and I am kind of halfway through the surface prep. So I'm just sanding away, making sure all the surfaces are nice and smooth, or at least from what I can see at this point. And then what I'll do next is what we'll do next is I will go ahead and put it into a degreaser bath and let that go for a couple of hours to help get rid of the mold release. And then I'll show you guys that process, and we will also I'll also put it into the ultrasonic cleaner and all that stuff, so you guys can see all of that. And we'll just have it, we'll clean it out and make sure we'll make sure everything is nice and clean and ready for primer. And then once that's done, I'm hoping by then we'll have found a way to get everything set up so that I can have things in the paint booth to stream and then we'll go ahead and kind of, I'll stream myself priming, and we'll talk, and while I'm priming, and hopefully I don't do anything kind of silly and make a mistake. But yeah, that's kind of the next steps for it. So we just, at this point, we just need to clean it up a little bit more, get all the pieces all sanded, and then we'll get to the degreaser bath, and then clean it up, and then we'll prime it, and then that'll be ready for paint. We'll be ready to go on that thing. And then in terms of this guy right here, it's definitely taking shape now. I think the next kind of step for this guy is, I need to start rescribing, and probably we'll try to put it together. So I'll grab a spare action base, and try to have it standing, and we'll take a photo of it, and I'll kind of see how this whole thing looks. And then I'll see where Manny and Kyle are, and then we'll go ahead and schedule a stream with all three of us, but we'll kind of talk about where we are with it, and how we think the build is going so far, right? So since this is Manny's very first resin kit, we'll talk to somebody who's kind of just been very recently introduced to resin kits. Kyle has some experience, and also I have some experience, so it's we'll definitely talk about that and kind of get there. And I think that'll be a couple of streams down the line. Let's see. Kyle, aka Clues Gunpla, says, going to Hollywood Boulevard, first date night we get. Oh man, you do you. Ruslan Bill says, isn't Hollywood Boulevard a notorious place for night workers? I mean, in Dallas it is Harry Hines Boulevard. No, Ruslan. It's a movie theater diner in the West Burbs. It's So there's two, right? There's Hollywood Palms and there's Hollywood Boulevard. So the one on the Hollywood Palms is in Naperville, and is it co-owned by what is his name? The Ghostbusters, one of the guys that wrote Ghostbusters. Also Blues Brothers. Cannot remember his name right now. But yeah, it's like a dine-in kind of movie theater, and most of the movie theaters are themed. Hollywood Boulevard has like a police car going through the building, which is pretty cool. The Hollywood Palms in Naperville has like a waterfall, and it's got like one of the theaters has a Chinese theater theme. One has like a Looney Tunes theme. It's like a whole thing. It's pretty nice. It's pretty cool. Let's see. Bill says, first night I feel safe. I'm going to the closest bar and letting the hottest woman there get me drunk and take advantage of me. No. Rushalam says, Ramis. No, it's the other guy. God, his name escapes me. Even his Ghostbusters name, his character's name escapes me. It's not Egon. It's not Pete. God, I am terrible. Dan Aykroyd. Yes, Julius Sarge. Thank you so much. Yes, Dan Aykroyd. Thank you. Oh, God. Save me. Yes. I do believe it's called by Dan Aykroyd. Because like whenever you're watching a movie, his face pops up, and he's always talking about, great Hollywood palaces like the Hollywood Palms or the Hollywood Boulevard. So, I'm pretty sure he is, but I don't know. You never know these days. But yeah, so do you guys have any other questions for me? I mean, here we are with kind of where we're at with this right now, right? So, do you guys have any kind of questions about this resin kit in particular, or any other resin kits that might be that you guys would like to see? Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and like I said earlier, I am giving away a resin bust for Gigantic Gunpla Forge's GoFundMe giveaway, right? And I showed the box off on last night, but I never actually got to show you guys the inside. So we can do that right now. If I can very carefully move these pieces over, we can do that. Okay, so what is that photo etch paint part? Okay, cool. All right, so for those that don't know, AOK Silver Oaks, he is probably the first one that had a Dynamis conversion kit out in the market, but didn't use the Dynamis. He actually made a Dynamis conversion kit before the MG Dynamis was out, and he made a Dynamis out of an Exia. So that's kind of his thing. He is coming out with a dual conversion as well, and then I think he recently just came out with the Banshee Unicorn Bust 135 scale. Julius Stamsky says he played Race Stance in Ghostbusters. Thank you so much, dude. So here are the contents. I mean, this thing is these things are ridiculously easy to put together. You've got the Sinanju heads right here. You've got some clear pieces, so you have options to put in an LED kit in there for the eyes. Here's the Sazabi head right here. You've got some horns. Very simple kit, but I think it looks awesome, man. Like the details on the Sinanju head, for example. If I can get you this to kind of, there we go. Cool. It's very nice. So, like I said, to have a chance of winning this, just donate to Giganta's Gunpla Forge, and that automatically gets you a spot to win this thing. So, yeah. And then, last but not least, once we do hit 2,000 euros, and if I can zoom out even more, move it a little bit this way. Can I zoom out even more? No, that's as far as I go. Then, you guys are in to win, again, the Dragon Momoko Akatsuki. This thing was very hard to find for a good amount of time. I think it's hard to find again. So, if you guys want a very good looking master grade ish Akatsuki, again, you guys know what to do. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into the main face camera with this transition. Now, please take note of this transition because Tim has, and he's very he's wanting one now. There we go. Cool. All right, so I think we'll leave it there for tonight. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I know a lot of the things I'm doing are very kind of basic at the moment, but I'm hoping once we get past all this, it will definitely start to get more interesting. We'll start masking and we'll start doing all of that stuff. But for now, if you guys have any questions about any of the stuff that I do, or if you guys want to see kind of the things I've done in the past, you guys can check me out on Instagram, and that is at Chris_Pabz, Pabz. I am mostly active on there. I am also on Facebook, facebook.com /Chris Pabz Gunpla Works, I believe. So you guys can check me out there. I have started live streaming on Facebook recently. It is really annoying because for some reason I can't change the title. So sometimes it still says 425, sometimes it says 52. So it's been an issue with Facebook live. So, but apart from that, if you guys are interested in donating to Ben Giganta's Gunpla Forge, GoFundMe. The link is in my profile on Instagram. So it's very easy to find. It's right there. And then if you guys want to see the stuff I'm giving away for it, I also made a hi- a highlight story on Instagram. So you guys can check that out. Um, but apart from that, again, thank you guys so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure spending the evening with you. I will see you guys next week, hopefully on mechanisms, not just in the back, because I was in the back pretty much all night. Um, but I love those guys. And hopefully I will see you guys back here next Saturday. And hopefully we can get some more stuff done. Hopefully we'll get more than one thing done this time. Um, and yeah, hopefully you guys have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful Sunday and the rest of your week. I will see you guys back